What's up? What's up? Hi. We're back. Gaming memory lane. Now today's gonna be a little different, mostly because there's no music in the beginning. This game, it's a trio. I'm talking about three games in one here, and are, in my opinion, Flash game classics, but they're very popular on Newgrounds. I believe that's the only site you can play these games on, and it's one of the Flash games I think of when I think of Newgrounds. And I'm talking about the Ray trilogy. And if you know the Ray trilogy. And that's today's destination on memory lane. We're talking about Ray 1, 2, and 3. The point and click classic game with very vulgar actions and attitudes and vocabulary. And we may all know this as a badass version of South Park because it's done with South Park animations. The characters are like South Park characters. So let's get into it. So Ray, the first one, my personal favorite, was released in 2003. Now you're this veteran, this soldier who has fought in war, and now he become a hitman when he gets back home to the states. And now like he's this mercenary that goes on missions, and he just kills people, retrieves kidnapped people, and do this and all that type stuff for money. Like a hitman or a mercenary. Like he does all this stuff. That's how he gets paid. As I said, in my opinion, I think it's a Newgrounds classic because I think this is the only place that would have this game. Now, unless you go to some sketchy Flash game site that has a port of this, I doubt. But other than that, Newgrounds is the only place that has it. And they're point and click. They're basically interactive movies. So like you don't really do anything. You just watch, and then you click. There's options. There's always options. Every action has options to it, whether it be two, three, four options. You pick one of the options, and he'll do different things, different actions to either progress to the next scene or fail. Whether you didn't get what you need or you end up dying. So the first one you have to save this girl Michelle, who was kidnapped by these Puerto Rican drug lord type people, and you just got to save her. She's kidnapped. She's out cold. She's all tied up and stuff. You go and save her. So basically, it starts off as you are at the liquor store, and there's this homeless dude out there asking you for some change, and you have some options. You can either give him some change, share the love because you're at the liquor store, so you bought some liquor, so share the love. You can give him some alcohol. You can ignore him and walk away, and then he pulls out a gun and shoots you, or you could take the bottle, throw it at his head, and knock his ass out. it's So every option is either going to get you to the next scene in the story or the movie, whatever you want to call it, or it's going to get you killed or you're going to fail one way or another. And then you go on to your car. And you got these two black dudes in this blue car with a baseball bat. And they're like, hey, give us the keys to your car. And you have options to answer there. Option one is like, that's nice music you got, but I prefer this person much more. And these two guys look at each other like, get him. So they grab you and they beat the shit out of you with this baseball bat. Okay, so that's a fail. And then option number two for they be get in your car and drive away. That's it. That's all you do. Get in your car, drive away. As you drive away, to take the baseball bat, throw it at your car. And then the next option is you don't take that shit from anybody. So you get in your car, you drive away, you come around, and then from the other side, and then you run their asses over. And then option four is to shoot them. You take a gun out, you shoot them, you kill them both, and then that's it. So this one doesn't get you killed, but it gets you beat up, so it's a fail. So there's always I always want to. I think with every option that has four options, either one is a fail and three are passes, and I think sometimes there's only one pass and three fails. It's I'm gonna say it's the first set much more. It's one fail and three passes, and then for the ones that are two options, It's either both are passes, or it's one pass, one fail. So we move on to the next scene. You're walking into your apartment complex, and the guy at the front, I guess the landlord or whatever, is an Asian guy asking, hey, how come you don't pay any rent? And you just throw his ass against the wall, and and you just pick his ass up, throw him against the wall like it was nothing. And you go back into your apartment. You get a call from Pete. Now Pete's the guy who assigned you on these missions. He's the one that pays you. He's the one that does this, and that. So that's the guy to go to for all these jobs. But he always comes to you. He calls you, say, "Hey, I got a job for you." So we go to the bar. We meet up with Pete, and this is where we get the information on Michelle, the person we have to save. And now again, this is still the first one. So we go out to the back. We find this dude that's in part of kidnapping Michelle, and we have to interrogate him. So we either yell at him, beat him up, or we kill him. Well, we can't kill him until we get the answers. So don't choose those options. Beat him up until he finally gives in and gives you answers that you need, where she's at, where to find her, so on and so forth. And then you have the after you get the information on where Michelle is, you have four options to get rid of this guy. Either you can just walk away and leave him alone, you can knock him out, you can shoot him in the head and kill him, or you can piss on him and walk away. I I, I always choose to piss on him because that's an option. So I do it. So that's what he does. He pees on him and he walks away. We move on to the next scene. We go to the address that this dude gave us, and it's like this drug lord, this drug den, mansion like place, surrounded by guards and stuff. So you have to pick them off one by one, either with a pistol, sniper, machine gun. I don't. Well, I don't think you get a machine gun quite yet, but definitely a sniper or a knife. And then so you wheeled your way through this den, if you want to call it that, and just take out all these guys, and then you finally find Michelle. And again, she's all tied up, she's knocked out cold. You steal an SUV from one of them. It's in a garage, and you fly away. Uh, and then you have a helicopter chasing you. There's two guys in a helicopter that chase you, and then you have, well, I guess technically there's three, because I think one of the guys jump onto the vehicle that you're on, and you have an option to either shoot them off the vehicle or brake really hard, have them fly off the vehicle, and then run them over. And then there's a sniper on that helicopter, and he shoots you in the arm. You crash the vehicle. Okay, so it turns sideways, it flips over, it rolls over on the highway that you're on, or the bridge or whatever. You get out, you pull out Michelle, you pull out your sniper, and you have two options there. You have the option to either kill the sniper that shot you, or kill the person, the pilot that's controlling the helicopter. So you do that, you move on to the next scene. It's two passes on that one. You move on to the next scene. The car is trashed. The vehicle you take is fucked up. So you carry Michelle to like a bus stop or something, and then you wait for a next vehicle. So what pops up is a street bike, some dude on like a Suzuki motorcycle or whatnot, and you have options there. Either you ask him to get off, he flips you off, he drives away, and then you just shoot him in the back. Um, or you can just take a pistol, shoot him in the head right there. You can take a knife and stab him in the eye, or you can rip him off his motorcycle and beat him with his helmet. I think all those are passes. Well, I mean, I think the one you shoot him in the back with the rifle, where you asking him to get off, he drives away. You still pull out your rifle because it's strapped to your back still, and you just shoot him. But I think that causes the motorcycle to be wrecked. I don't remember that one. I don't choose that one. Uh, so you finally have Michelle. You're on a street bike. She's strapped to you. You go back home. She's on the couch. You saved the day. You know, and this is all based on drugs. I think all three of these games are just based on these drugs, finding drugs for Pete, retrieving people, and that's how you get your money. Either because the drugs are worth money, or a missing person reward. He's trying to collect that. Uh, uh, you know, it's all shady from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? You can obviously tell it's shady, but we're gonna move on to the next one. The second one, Ray Part Two, came out in 2005. And again, it's just another uh, interactive movie, point and click. And I believe this is the one. Again, you meet up with Pete, And I believe you have. I believe this is the one. No, I think part three. Part three is the one you have flashbacks to your days in the military. But the second one, you're there's drugs again, drug related, but it's all about going to this boat, this giant boat, this ship, this yacht, whatever it is, to retrieve whatever you need to retrieve and kill the person who's in control of it all. So and that's just the mission. There's nobody, no kidnap here. This is all drugs, and again, point and click. You don't control nothing. There's no voice acting in the first two. There is in the third one, but not the first two. You end up in this place after, well, first let's just say how you get there. You meet up with Pete, you tell him how you get there, and then you collect everything you need. This parachute and whatever weapons you choose, a knife, explosives, uh, or there's two different types of guns. You fly over there. I don't think it's a helicopter, but it's military type vehicle, military grade. A buzzer goes off. It's time for you to jump off, skydive down. You parachute on the top of the mountain, and there's this dude that's scaling down this mountain in the middle of the night for whatever reason. And you have, I think you have 3 or 4 options on that one. You can either just jump off the mountain and say fuck it, hope for the best. You can cut the existing rope that the mountain climber's on, so you just cut him loose, and then you use the whatever's left of the existing rope and climb down the rest of the way. Or you can just climb down the rope and just knock him off of it. Or I think that's it. I think there's only 3 for that one. And you get down to the bottom of this mountain and you walk up to this place that has the docks to get to the boat. And you can either take a boat there or you can scuba dive there. And the objective is to get to the boat, find the guy who's in control of all these drugs, and just kill him, get rid of him. You can either shoot him, blow up the boat, stab him, whatever. But it's just a rough gist of it, because part 2, it's literally just a part 2. Again, it's just drugs with the same kind of people, just a different location. It's still the same motive. The only thing that's different is that you're not saving anyone. You're just stealing drugs that's either been made by them or stolen from them, and you're just bringing it to Pete and killing the guy who was in charge of it all. That's it. That's it. Same graphics, same style of gameplay. Really nothing that different, just a slightly different story. Like it feels like it's a literal part 2 of the first one. Now, part 3, we're going to move into part now. Part 3 is a bit different. I was a little bit more of a budget on that one. But for years, even still to this day, it's a demo. They never came out with the full game. Now, there is voice acting in this one. Ray has voice acting. I believe the voice actor in that one, his name is Kenjamin Lafayette. Kenjamin Lafayette, I think I'm saying his name correctly, who voiced Ray. And he, I'm fucked up in my notes here. Oh, yeah, I said it earlier, duh. He's having flashbacks to his military days, so it's a complete movie in like the first half. I don't think there's any option. There's very, very little options, but like 99% of part 3 is just a movie. That 1% you actually do something, but other than that, you just watch. And so this is where you meet his ex-wife, or his ex-lady, his ex, and his son. He has a son. So Ray is actually a deadbeat, which should be no surprise considering the fact that, well, we know what he does for money. He's not going to spend no time with his kid. But yeah, like I said, it was still considered a demo and still waiting for a full release. Obviously, it's been 20 years since Ray 3. Ray 3 came out in 2006, and we're in 2026. It's never gonna, it is what it is. Phil Collins is the guy who made the Ray series. I want to say he's the one that voices Pete. Pete is the only voice actor. Now, I know there's a couple, of the background character. Ray doesn't have a voice until part 3. That's where more of the budget comes in, because now the main character has a voice. And, the graphics are still the same, but it's a little bit more, you can tell it's more polished. It doesn't look like a super tight budget game that some guy made on a whim. This is now something he was investing in, but what happened, I have no idea. It's still a demo after 20 years. There's no ending to it. And there's barely a beginning to it, but there's nothing else. There's never been a full release of the game. I kind of want one just to see where the story goes, because part 3 is the most interesting one, because you get the roots and you get where he's at now. The fact that he has a son. The fact that he has, he still has belongings in his ex's house. But yet we already know the story about Ray. He's this mercenary, this hitman that goes on and does these odd jobs for money, or a percentage of the money that he's getting. And he works with this shady dude named Pete, who gives him all these jobs. Every time we see Pete, he's either at the bar or the cafe or at the damn McDonald's. He's always somewhere where there's food or drink. He's always eating something every time we see him. And he just calls Ray, or pages Ray. Who remembers pagers? There's a part of memory lane. Pagers. He pages Ray, or he calls him and says, "Hey, I got a job for you. Come here. This is the ridiculous shit you got to do for 10% of the money I'm going to give you." The one thing I'm going to say is, so that was a rough breakdown, a very rough breakdown, because it's a very rough kind of game. Like, it's just a menu pops up, you pick an option, and then you watch what happens. That's all it is. So it's not something that's very controllable. It's just an interactive movie. But I wanted to talk about it because, like, it's not a fever dream, just like the other episode I did with 5 Minutes to Kill. It wasn't a fever dream. This is a game that really happened. This is something that still exists and something you can still play today. It's still there. It still is one of their top, like, most viewed and played games, and their on Newgrounds. You have the option to organize all the games by play count or by ratings or by views or whatever. And Ray, at least the first one, is in like the top few rows. Like I said, the first one's my personal favorite. It's the most funniest. But I don't know. The only music I could find is copyright music. I'm not doing that. They play a Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, and they play something else that I cannot play. Because this podcast is now not just on Spotify, but it's also on Apple Podcasts. It's on Amazon Music. It's on YouTube, which is big with copyright. And it's also on iHeartRadio. So it's, some of these other streams, but YouTube doesn't play around with that copyright shit. So I'm not going to take the risk with that. It is what it is. So this episode's going to be not as much long as the other ones. Like I said, there's no music. Usually that takes up a good 15, 20 seconds of the episode. But I just want to sit here and get right into this game. All 3 of these trilogies that I tend to go back and play every once in a while because they still give me a good laugh. It's my kind of humor, It's the South Park animations. They literally look like South Park characters. Although, like, Matt Stone and Trey Parker have no involvement with this, it does look just like South Park characters. It looks like Stan grew up, got tired of everybody's shit, and decided, fuck it, I'm gonna kill people and take this money and these drugs and just live in this apartment somewhere in a shady part of town. It's I kind of why I wanted to do this episode, because like I said, it's not a fever dream. It's something that happened, but it's a game that's me and my friends and other people, my cousins and I, we would play this. This is something I was introduced to, and I fell in love with it immediately because it was funny. It's funny, and it's recognizable animation. I thought it's made by South Park people because it's South Park looking characters, but no, it's not. It's just some dude who took that motivation there. But it's been, well, I wouldn't say well over 20 years, but it's been over 20 years since the original Ray, since this trilogy was released and launched out, and it's been a good 20 plus years. Like, Newgrounds is older than YouTube. I think Newgrounds has been around since the 90s, the late 90s. And you can tell because not now, but like some of the oldest, like this game here, you get, the early 2000s vibe when you play this game. Like, this is nostalgic for me. Like, the whole purpose of this podcast, not just, it's everyone's gaming memories, including mine, and this is one of them. I know. Again, it's in a very beginning, Sam. I'm gonna get past through games like these as I move on further in the podcast. I'm gonna start talking about bigger titles. I got one planned on the way. But let me get some of these out the way because I'm going to give these games these flowers because Flash games, I say, at least for a lot of us, Flash games was our introduction to PC gaming. And so, I play on PC thanks to some of these games like, Flash games, again, like Newgrounds and Congregate and Arma games and Cool Math. I love playing computer games. And now we have Steam, and which is not, it feels like the whole world is right in front of you there. Because you have Steam, of course, you still have the internet, Flash games, and all the other websites like IndieDB and GameJolt. This website here still stands, and it's. I should probably do an episode about Newgrounds. I really should. I mean, it's a Flash gaming website. Of course, it's not just strictly gaming, but it's known for its games. I very well can probably do that, thanks to stuff like Ray and Happy Wheels, and then uh, I don't remember if 5 Minutes to Kill was on Newgrounds or not. It might be, but Newgrounds was one of the first places I always thought of when I play Flash games. And when I come to Newgrounds, Ray is one of the first games I play. Like you have Ray, you have Pico School, you know, you have what was that one game? Oh Jesus, I'm was it Stickman? Was it Stickman on here too? I think there was Stickman Adventures on this website. Skull Kid. I remember Skull Kid, Skincraft. You know, this is on that list. So this is an episode of me just giving this game its flowers. I can only say so much about a Flash game before I just start to repeat myself. But I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it loose here. I said what I need to say. I gave you a rough breakdown on the game. Just go to Newgrounds and type in Ray, 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 and all three of them will just pop up. So if you want a good laugh or a blast from the past, a trip down memory lane, go ahead. All right, y'all. Be sure to follow the socials: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm having fun with this stuff. I don't care if I don't get views or not. I'm having fun doing this podcast and making YouTube videos. And I'm going to keep it retro for a while. Eventually, I'm going to get some of the more modern stuff like PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. But let me get all the classics out the way first. Because then again, it is memory lane. So be sure to follow my YouTube channel for my Let's Plays. And also my podcast. And be sure to subscribe. Follow my podcast. Give it good ratings. Tell your people about it. If you and your friends know about the games I'm talking about, especially in the early beginnings here, let them know. Like maybe they can sit and reminisce. Like, oh, I remember that game. That's kind of the point of this. It's gaming memory lane. We're going down memory lane. All right, y'all. I'm out.